Hi everyone, this is Juliet here, and I thought that I would just spend a few moments just to connect in with you. Hi, it's a really cold day, and I'm just a bit thrown because it's 4:30 and the sun's going down, so that means that we've got changes in our clocks. So the clocks have just been changed, fallen back. So they say spring forward and fall back. So we've just had the fall back, which means that the sun comes up earlier, or it gets light according to our clocks earlier, but everything's actually still the same. The sun's still doing the same thing, but we've changed our relationship with it. So it's a really cold day, and I'm sat outside my house. I haven't had the opportunity to go for a walk today. I'm a bit sad about that, but I've just been doing an amazing video with Rachel, Elno and Davina and Marion, another episode of Wise Women Contemplate Turbulent Times. So that was really interesting because cars going by, because Davina, I mean, technology is amazing. Davina's just spoken all the way from the Amazon jungle. So do get to watch this video. It's fascinating to think that we can just have a chat with somebody from the Amazon. And she's just been sharing about how it's been in Peru with the lockdown and everything. I'm glad I'm not in Peru. That sounds like really, really stressful. And we've just raised some challenging things in the video, talking about what's happening at the moment. It's like life is so unutterably intense. So whatever you're looking at is kind of stressful and intense, and it's like, how do we get through? Rachel, hi, how do we get through each day? Sometimes it can be really hard, and some days I've felt so challenged. I've just like felt really flat. I don't know how to go forward. It's like on those days, all my motivation normally, hi Dillis, all my motivation normally, because I'm quite a kind of upbeat person. I've got a lot of energy for doing things and projects and stuff like that. But some days, like all my energy is, hi Jack, all my energy has just gone like that. It's like some days I feel like I lose the will to live even, but those are very few and far between. And hi Lawrence, hi. So every day when I wake up, I have to challenge myself. It's like, okay, how am I going to get through the day? What shall I focus on? Because I've lots of things to do, but how do I motivate myself to do those things that are a bit more difficult? And some days I can, and I have to, I just move forward into those things, and other days it's really hard, and I have to let myself off the hook when I can't do the list of things that I've got for the day. And so as much as possible, I resource myself, I pace myself and I resource myself so that I can somehow keep my spirits buoyant. And the thing that uplifts me most are those interactions with people where I can help people. There are a few children, for instance, that usually pass my house around this time of day, and they always say, they stop if they see me and say, hi Juliet, how are you? How's your garden? And that kind of really connected conversation with those children, they must be 8 or 9 years old, that they've stopped and that they've stopped and they want to hear about the garden. That really lifts me up. So the more we can connect in with others, and the more we can be helpful to them, and it buoys us up, because human beings are meant to connect, even if we've got this kind of reclusive nature like I have a tendency to. It's like that reclusiveness tends to come more from our trauma patterns than from what is inherently human. It's like human beings are hardwired for connection. We need to have interaction with each other. So as much as possible, I seek out some kind of interaction, even if it's like going into town, and just much as I dislike this whole thing with what's happening with shops and things at the moment, just going into town and seeing people, mingling around, or going to the beach and seeing people just do normal things, like yesterday when I was at Woolacombe Beach and people were throwing sticks for their dogs and the dogs were leaping into the waves and things. It just made my heart so glad. So what is it that you can do if you're having a bit of a low day, if you're having a bit of a down day? What is it that you can do for yourself right now that can support you through that? It's good to have a list of resources, a kind of something that you know you can go to do to move your energy if you start feeling down and flat. Because there's this concept which is called the trauma spiral, is that if we're on the trauma spiral, if we're in that flat place, or we're in this place where we're feeling kind of emotionally reactive, or we're feeling despondent, then we can get sucked down the trauma spiral if we don't have some kind of intervention, if we don't do something that positively uplifts us. So it's good to have those things. So my go-to things are connecting somehow with someone, helping somebody, or receiving help from somebody. That's really lovely as well. Being out in nature, making some nice food for myself. I like to sit in here in my garden very often and just listening to the birds, especially around this time when all the birds start to go to bed. Looking at flowers, listening to beautiful music. There's a bird. Yeah. And I was in my garden the other day, and amazing, this is Torview Avenue in Glastonbury. It's not exactly the countryside, but it's on the edge of the countryside. And a little squirrel came into my garden, and I have never ever seen a squirrel on Torview Avenue before. And it was scurrying round and looking a bit nervous, and then popping up and checking everything out, and then scurrying around again. And it made me so happy in that moment. So what is it that makes you happy when you're feeling a bit down? What's your go-to thing? So it's important to have that, and to encourage other people how to stay connected in with things that help them feel human and joyful, and to connect with smiles. Because a smile, when we can smile at someone, it communicates so much. It really lifts our hearts to be smiled at and to receive a smile. So how can we stay connected to our humanity, and how can we be really soulful and feel our aliveness when there's so much stress going on? There's so many things that are completely unknown. It's been very hard for me to know, from one moment to the next with the things that I do. Should I follow this through or that through, or when's this going to happen? So nothing seems to be reliable at all. So this feeling of lack of constancy can be quite, kind of discouraging. But there's also this kind of turbulence is a kind of creative process as well, isn't it? Kind of gets us doing things in new ways. And if anything, humanity really needs to start looking at how we can do things differently, because a lot of things that have happened really haven't been serving anyone at this point in time. So how can we shape life in the way that we would love it to be, rather than going and being driven? There's this feeling that we're being taken on this global agenda into ways of being that doesn't serve humanity. How can each one of us take us into the kind of life that we want? So can we live, even though all this is going on, can we live the life we want? So, a couple of cars going past. So yeah, that's my question to you today. What are you doing personally in terms of creating the kind of life that you want and what you believe in? So it can be doing that in really small ways, but just that sense of moving towards the kind of life you want, rather than feeling overwhelmed and powerless. Because it's really important not to give our power away right now. Okay, so I am going to go and do something else, and I've just enjoyed these few minutes checking in with you, and yeah, if there's any way that you need any help or anything, I'm here. All you have to do is to send me an email and I'm happy to help. Some people going by. Okay, lots of love to you on this very cold day here in Glastonbury. It might be warm where you are. Like Davina in the Amazon, she said it was, what did she say? It was 44 degrees or something like that, really hot. Anyway, lots of love. Speak soon. Bye.